welcome to Above Replacement Radio. I am your host, Chris Gianta. You know what Christy Mathewson wasn't worried about? SIERA. When you're thinking about Pedro Siriaco, I mean, the only one that can compete is maybe Hannes Wagner's 1908 season. Over there on the other side of the screen is Daniel Curran.
Like, if we just clip together every time we've talked about him on other people's profiles, we've done a Mickey Cochran episode.
I can't get past Rabbit Marinville. It's not necessarily Hall of Fame. It's not necessarily above average, but we can guarantee you we are better than just the standard replacement level college sophomore.
And welcome to Above Replacement Radio, where we're talking baseball kind of whenever. I am your host, Chris Gianta. Over there across from me, as you cannot see on YouTube, unfortunately, is Daniel Curran. How you doing, Daniel?
Chris, I am doing well today. We have 5 days until opening day. It doesn't feel real. Like, I know we talked about it last show, but the offseason just didn't feel real this year. We don't need to get into that same conversation again, but I can't believe we're less than a week away. Like, this time next week, we will be talking about real baseball. Do we want to announce? I mean, I don't know if we can announce this on the show, but a week from today, I don't know if you've realized this, but we're going to be in Hartford, Connecticut.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
We're gonna be we're credentialed media members.
That's right.
At Dunkin' Donuts Park, the Yard Goats are playing. Are they playing the Fisher Cats?
They are playing the Binghamton Rumble Ponies, I believe.
Oh, Binghamton.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, they are playing against them. We're getting media credentials. I don't know exactly what we'll be doing.
No, but we'll be there.
We'll be there, futzing around.
Yeah,
being in the press box. It's gonna be a good time. And yeah, thanks to Kyle Belanger.
Yeah,
three-time guest of the program.
Is that it?
Yeah, because he's only done Kyle's questions, and we did it 3 times.
Interesting.
We wanted to do it a 4th time, but we didn't figure this whole thing out.
Yep. With
the equipment. But thanks to Kyle Belanger for setting that up. And it's it feels good. It feels good, and I feel happy that he has the respect for us enough to give us that honor of being credentialed media members for a minor league baseball team.
Yeah, so I think that's something we'll be talking about on the show next week.
Yes.
I think we want to do one more show, not including this one, before opening day, because we're rounding out our players to watch today, and then we want to go into standings and predictions, awards, all of that.
Yeah. And I don't know, possibly we'll have Nico and Bono on. No promises, but we'll see. We'll see about it.
Who knows?
Everyone's schedules, as cliched as it is, but everyone's schedules are a little hectic, and sometimes it's hard to find time.
We're speeding into that parking spot at the end of the semester.
Shout out to Marty Dobrow, also a guest of the program,
also a professor of ours.
Yeah. Speeding into that parking spot. So, usually, speaking of that, usually we do 2 episodes a week during the season, but maybe we'll probably start out with like once a week until finals are over. It's going to be hard because we have some along with the podcast, we have like plenty of other big projects to worry about.
That's true. I was going to say we usually do Mondays and Thursdays, right? During the season.
Yeah, Mondays and Thursdays, and if we can't do it Monday, it's like Tuesdays and Fridays.
Yeah, that feels like it isn't going to be able to happen until I'd say the end of April.
Yeah,
like our finals start in May. Like, I'm not worried about finals at all, and I think that we could straight up do 2 shows a week during finals. Yeah,
for sure. That's true. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. That's kind of where we're at. And where what should we talk about first? I guess we'll start off on a nice happy note. Albert Pujols going back to the Cardinals for what he announced will be his final season.
Yeah.
2022. He obviously a legend of St. Louis, heading back there for his final season. It couldn't be better.
It's right. It's what had to be done.
It's exactly what had to be done.
I think the cool thing about this move is that it's not just a fan service move. Albert Pujols had very good numbers against left-handed pitching last season. There's obviously another open spot in the lineup with the designated hitter coming to the National League. So using like a lefty specialist especially since Corey Dickerson is their DH listed on Fangraphs right now. Like it actually makes sense. He can platoon with him, and everyone's happy here, right? Albert Pujols gets to retire in St. Louis. The fans get to appreciate him one more time. He gets to play alongside Adam Wainwright and Yadier Molina, and this is just a move that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. The Cardinals were kind of like their roster setup was kind of perfect with the pitcher in the lineup, where like they didn't necessarily have someone that could, given especially like their defensive abilities, they didn't have like a designated hitter on that lineup. And yeah, to be specific about his platoon abilities, last year in his age 42 season against lefties, hit 294 with a 939 OPS. So if you only have him against lefties, that's a good place to be. And I think I could probably see where that ranks, but I mean nonetheless, 939 OPS is a 939 OPS, so that's
very good.
It's extremely good, especially, because the narrative on Pujols has been, negative over the course of the past several years, and, it makes sense given, given his, offensive downfall just because of age, really. But, if he can only do what he's being asked to do, which is be a DH against lefties, I think that could turn out very positive for the Cardinals. And yeah, it's gonna be fun. It should be fun.
Yeah. This doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things because it's really not gonna have any effect on the course of Albert Pujols' legacy. But just because I need to mention it, on Baseball Reference, Albert Pujols is currently sitting at 99.6 career wins above replacement. So we need 0.4.
Yeah.
0.4. If you're a sabermetrician, I'm sure you'll be looking at it. I'm rooting for him. I don't know how you can't be rooting for him.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, if he's posting an OPS in the 900s, if they only have him against lefties, I think he could make that. Yeah, I think he could make that.
Yeah,
like that difference.
I don't think we're gonna see like a full time. I mean, we're definitely not gonna see like a full time starting role for him. He might not even be in the opening day lineup. I have to check who the Cardinals are playing on opening day and who I think they're playing the Pirates.
Right.
I could be wrong on that, but I believe the Cardinals are playing the Pirates on opening day.
Yeah.
Which would they are. So that would probably mean like JT Brubaker is starting on opening day. Mitch Keller, maybe, if they really like.
Cool.
No, he's on the Rockies now.
Yeah.
Mitch Keller, if they really like what they saw out of him in spring training. Yeah, I mean, all that to say, they're probably going to face a righty. So it's hard to imagine he'd actually be in the opening day lineup unless they just wanted to do it for the purpose of doing it. I find it funny that Ali Marmol would be like the fourth oldest player on this team. He's 35 years old.
Yeah, right. Yeah, with Wainwright, Molina, and Pujols.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, I mean, last year's team, it would be insane.
Yeah, he would be below, like, the median.
Yeah. Yeah,
especially on the pitching staff.
Yeah, like Jay Happ, John Lester. Yeah. So anyway, also a stat with Pujols, his 939 OPS is 18th out of 149 players last year to have 140 plus plate appearances against left-handed pitchers.
Wow.
So yeah, 18th out of 149 as a 42-year-old. That's
pretty good.
Very good, and if he's restricted to that, I mean, he had a 500 OPS against righties.
Mm-hmm.
Not the best idea. I don't know if maybe that's fluky, but it's tough.
I think it's pretty fair to say that that's probably going to be a theme. I mean, he's going into his age 43 season. No,
yeah.
42, sorry. When's his birthday, actually? January. Okay, yeah, he's going to retire at age 42.
Right. Oh, yeah. I messed up the math because he signed his 10-year deal at the age of 32, which made it end at 41. Okay, so last year was his age 41 season.
Yes.
My bad.
Yes.
So yeah, it should be fun. It's definitely a different type of player than what we've grown used to with the Cardinals over the past couple of years, given like everyone just kind of has a lot of versatility. But yeah, should be good.
Just worth noting, like I think throughout most of his tenure with the Angels, especially in the back half of that contract, he was expected to do a lot more. But then, like I'd say, beginning in 2018, they really reduced his role a lot. Like 2017, he played 149 games at the age of 37, and then he played 117, 131, and then 2020 he played 39. Then he played 109 games total in 2021. The last time we saw an OPS plus above 100 from him was 2016, in which he had a 113. But in his 85-game stretch with the Dodgers last year, he had a 101 OPS plus.
Yeah, he like I think maybe with some time off.
Like if he's used right, he can still be an effective hitter.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I mean, I don't think like 700 home runs is 21 away. I don't think I can confidently say that's happening.
Right.
Unless they wanted to really push out, like unless they just wanted to wear him out and give him 162 games and be like, go, just do it.
Yeah.
But I mean, he had 17 last year in 109 games. I can't imagine he's gonna play many more games than that.
Right. Yeah. Like and also he's not gonna be playing first base either. And I don't know how long. I don't know how much he was put in the first base position, like as of like the past couple years. I know he had to with the Dodgers, but like with the Angels he played 20 at first base in 2021. In 2020 it was 26 out of 39 games. And 2019 he played 98 games at first base.
Yeah.
So like, you know, if he's playing all his games at designated hitter, which would make sense because you have Paul Goldschmidt at first. You don't need, you're not going to need a first baseman. I think the Cardinals are putting him in like kind of the perfect position as long as they have him facing lefties.
Worth noting, if he can somehow put together a 148 RBI season, he will pass Henry Aaron for most all time.
Yeah.
if he can just be an MVP.
Yeah, if he can get like 300.
Where would that rank among his best seasons of all time in RBI?
I think that would be.
It would be number one. Yeah. Never had more than 137.
Yeah.
If he could beat his 2006 season, his 2009 season, his 2001, his 2002, and every other one.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the all-time RBI king.
Yes, he can do that. But yeah, shout out to Albert Pujols, still kicking, still.
It's gonna be like it's cool. I mean, he's probably gonna get like the full retirement tour, right?
Yeah, he's gotta.
Right.
He's a guy I'm campaigning for. Like, he should be the next unanimous Hall of Famer.
Yeah, he probably will be because I don't know. I think the only real threat in his way to do that is Adrian Beltre, and I don't think he's unanimous. But I think he's first ballot. I think he's 90% first ballot.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, I don't think. I don't think he gets unanimous either. But another transaction, a bigger deal in terms of, the players being moved around and in terms of, their abilities in 2022, is a fun. It's a nice, fun little sneaky trade, 1-for-1.
Yeah.
It's like, Dodgers need a reliever who can close out some games. White Sox have a overload of relievers. They need another outfielder. AJ Pollock for Craig Kimbrel. How about it?
It's beautiful in its simplicity, Chris.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I need this, you have this. I need that, you have that.
Yeah. It's like
it's as simple as that.
It's like a first pitch fastball in the outside corner. Just boom. There we go. We have it. Yeah. Perfect. It's a beautiful thing. AJ Pollock, he had an underrated good season. Obviously when you're on the Dodgers, your abilities or your performance isn't going to get recognized as much as everyone else because, everyone's really good. But AJ Pollock had, an 892 OPS last year?
Yeah.
892 OPS last year, which is pretty wild, in 422 plate appearances. He had one crazy stretch also. A guy who can get some barrels, and a great outfield with the White Sox now, especially. You already had Luis Robert and Eloy Jimenez, who are, first full 162 game season for Luis Robert, hopefully, as long as it doesn't get injured, and then Jimenez, it'll be his second, and then you have AJ Pollock, a veteran, 34 years old now, but a guy coming off a season with an 892 OPS, and in his
892.
his past two seasons, in 632 plate appearances, an 888 OPS. So the past 2 years he's been very good.
You know what's great about AJ Pollock is he could probably be a 1 through 4 hitter in at least 25, 26 lineups. He's been on the Dodgers and the White Sox the last 2 years, which are one of those 4 or 5 teams where he is hitting 7 or lower.
Yeah, he'll just if he was on the Pirates, he would be the best hitter by a long shot.
Not even just the Pirates. There are a lot of teams where you could say that. I think you could argue if he was on the Tampa Bay Rays, he's the best offensive player on that team, and that's a 100-win team.
That's true. That is true. Yeah.
I don't think there's any shame in being oh, the Pirates, they don't have there are plenty of teams out there where AJ Pollock would probably be their best hitter.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, platoon splits, nothing crazy, pretty even on both sides. At least last year. Yeah. It's just funny how simple it was and how it'll make each team better.
Yes.
The White Sox didn't need all those guys in the bullpen necessarily, and the Dodgers didn't need all those outfielders necessarily. And now they have each what they want. Yeah. We should talk about Craig Kimbrel's impact on that Dodgers bullpen as well.
It's very funny how it's such a Dodgers move where it's how do you rebound from losing the best relief pitcher of this generation? Oh, you go out and get the second best relief pitcher of this generation. Pretty simple, really.
Yeah. Yeah, Craig Kimbrel, he had a tough stint with the White Sox, but maybe that was a thing where he wasn't used to his role, and he's honestly we kind of saw when he was on the Red Sox, he needs to be in a situation where he's saving games.
Yeah.
He wasn't good in tie games. He wasn't good in 4-run games.
For whatever reason, he's amazing in save situations, but very meh in non-save situations.
Yeah, very weird, very weird. Last year overall had a 2.26 ERA and a 2.43 FIP, and this was I
know he did struggle with the White Sox, though.
He did struggle with the White Sox, and it was a nice resurgence from what he was doing the previous 2 years.
Yeah.
And you could loop the 2018 postseason into that. But, yeah, he's a guy who still throws hard. He still strikes a ton of batters out. And his problems when he was having his struggles, it wasn't strikeouts. It was, walks and giving up homers. So... I think, and I guess we were talking about it, I think last week where Blake Trinan, we were Blake Trinan's got the closing role.
Yeah.
But I think the Dodgers are in a great position now that they can have Trinan still as a setup man.
Yeah.
A great setup man versus maybe a middle of the road or decent closer, and then you have a guy who's going to slam the door.
I think Daniel Hudson was set up to be their setup man last week.
Right.
Which is, Daniel Hudson's very good. I think he had a very good FIP last year. His peripherals were excellent. Still, if it's the Dodgers, they could do better than him, and they did.
Yes. Craig Kimbrel, by the way, active leader in saves with 372.
It's crazy.
Yes. Yeah.
With the Cubs last year, he was unreal.
0.49 ERA, 1.10 FIP.
15.7 strikeouts per 9. That's 64 strikeouts in 36 and 2/3 innings. 3.2 walks per 9, 1 home run allowed.
1 home run allowed.
And then he allowed 5 in Chicago.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, in Chicago with the White Sox.
With the White Sox on the south side.
Yeah.
Chicago. Yeah.
He allowed over double the hits per 9, over 10 times the home runs per 9. His walk rate jumped a little bit. His strikeout rate dipped. It was still 14.1, but it went from 15.7 to 14.1. That's 1.5, and then some decrease.
Right. So I would expect more success from Craig Kimbrel, especially like he knows he's in a winning situation. He knows he knows he's in a winning situation, and he knows he's going to be given the ball, when there's up by 3 or less runs.
Yeah.
And I think it'll go well with him. I think part of his struggles with Chicago was he wasn't in the 9th inning getting saves. I think that was part of it. So anyway, anything more on that trade?
I think that's about all that I have. Yeah, I mean, well, I think people, like, I know that this trade was viewed a lot as, the Dodgers got Craig Kimbrel, but, like, the White Sox got AJ Pollock.
Yeah.
That cannot be understated.
Yeah. I mean,
like, I know that I just, I did say, like, there are a ton of lineups where he'd be one of the better hitters. The White Sox just don't happen to be one of them. Yeah. And the Dodgers also did not happen to be one of them.
Yeah. And I'm wondering who AJ Pollock replaces in, like, the projected lineup.
Leori Garcia.
So yeah.
I mean, come on, guys.
and
isn't he like the longest tenured member of the White Sox? Like, it's probably either him or Abreu.
That wouldn't surprise me.
It's got to be either him or Jose Abreu. Yeah, no, it's Leori Garcia. He debuted in 2013, and he's only been. Oh no. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. He debuted in 2013 with Texas, but then he got traded to the White Sox, and he started playing for the White Sox in 2013. And he's been there every year since.
Yeah.
And he has an 81 career OPS plus. 2020, he has set a career high with a 106 OPS plus, a 758 OPS.
And where was he at last year?
96.
96.
Yeah, he hit a walk-off home run against the Red Sox for one of his 5 home runs during his 474 plate appearance season.
So yeah.
Do you remember that?
That was September, right?
Yeah. It was a Sunday. It was a day game.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It
sucked.
AJ Pollock, AJ Pollock, meanwhile, had 21 home runs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah, very good for the White Sox. And, yeah, as you point out, the White Sox got AJ Pollock.
Mm-hmm.
And, AJ Pollock, just looking at Baseball Reference, where I didn't look at F4, but looking at Baseball Reference, where AJ Pollock had more wins above replacement than Kimbrel. Like, Kimbrel might be, obviously it's hard to judge relievers with wins above replacement, but, you have Kimbrel wasn't going to be as important for the White Sox as he was going to be for the Dodgers, and Pollock wasn't going to be as important for the Dodgers as he's going to be for the White Sox. It's a very interesting thing, and as you said, it's quite beautiful.
It is. Yeah, it's just a good trade.
Yeah. Love to see it.
What's not to like about it?
Yeah, we can't even we can't even hit the hot take button.
Let me see like who's on whose payroll, because I feel like I read somewhere that the Dodgers and White Sox are just eating the other's contracts. But I could be wrong.
Interesting.
No, it looks like. Okay, no, never mind. AJ Pollock is owed $10 million this year, $14.5 million next year, and he has a player option for 2023. As far as it looks like they're just taking the other salary. I think the Kimbrel contract for this year is $6 million more, which is nothing, especially to the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Who have a expected payroll of $286 million in a year where the luxury tax is $230 million. They're $56 million over.
Yeah. That doesn't seem to affect them. But love to see it for sure.
We do. Craig Kimbrel is owed $16 million this year, and then he's a free agent. So it's 1 year of Craig Kimbrel for 2, possibly 3 years of AJ Pollock.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like.
You gotta like it for both sides, because the Dodgers can do without AJ Pollock, and the White Sox can do without Craig Kimbrel.
Yeah, and the White Sox like the Dodgers can easily re-sign Kimbrel.
Mm-hmm.
And the White Sox, they'll have more control of Pollock as discussed. I thought he signed a 4-year deal, so
No.
it was a 5-year deal worth how much? I'm gonna look at that. AJ Pollock on Baseball Reference. It says 4 years, $55 million.
That was after, 2018?
Yeah, so 2019 through 2022, and then a 2023 player option.
Okay.
So I guess 1 or 2 more years. But yeah, should work. We'll see about it. And what were there any other transactions that we wanted to talk about?
I don't think there were any notable ones.
All right, awesome.
The Diamondbacks signed Ketel Marte to a contract extension. Did we talk about that yet?
No, we didn't. It was 5 years, 76.
There's not much to say, except it's very team-friendly.
Right.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, and he's staying with the Diamondbacks. And I think he was going to be was he going to be a free agent after this year?
Yes.
Service time. He had 5 years of service time, so yeah, he was going to be a free agent after the year. And yeah, it's pretty team friendly. He unfortunately injuries last year kind of set him back. 2019 was his highlight year where he had a 981 OPS along with great defense. And yeah, I think that's good for the Diamondbacks. I guess it's good for them. Good to see them spending money and believing in the future a little bit.
Yeah.
Because at the state they're at now, it's
especially
easy,
with that division.
It's easy to be pessimistic, and might have been easy to just trade Ketel Marte at the deadline this year. I mean, maybe that's if I were the GM, I might have gone about it that way too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and I forgot to check how old he is. Ketel. He must be late 20s, something like that. Heading into his age 28 season. So they're gonna have him. Does the 5-year contract start this year? I think maybe next year.
Yeah.
So they'll have him through his age 33 season. So yeah, great deal for the Diamondbacks for sure.
Absolutely.
And maybe it'll open up more financial flexibility for whenever they want to compete, whenever that may happen. Not that they haven't been not wanting to compete, but they did have a...
I mean, there's no way last year, I'm sure they weren't going to last year anticipating they were going to win, but there's no way they were like, yeah, we're on track for a 50-win season right now. Because they were terrible in one-run games, which are just so random.
True.
Great teams can be terrible in one-run games, and terrible teams can be great in one-run games.
Right.
The Mariners were a lot of the reason the Mariners won 90 games is because I think they had the best record in baseball in one-run games.
Right. Yeah.
The 2019 Giants had the most one-run wins in baseball, and the 2019 Giants didn't do anything of note really.
Yeah, they finished third in the NL West or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can be random for sure. But now we can get into our division previews, players to watch, briefly talk about the state of where they're at, and a question for each team.
Yeah.
So we'll start off. I was going to start off in the National League East.
Oh, okay.
Because the American League East is the most intriguing to me.
Yeah.
They had 4 90-win teams last year. So, yeah. Doesn't really matter, but who's going to start in the National League East and start off with the Washington Nationals. How the mighty have fallen. They went 65-97 and finished last in the NL East last year. In the offseason, they lost Ryan Zimmerman to retirement and Jordy Mercer.
I did not know they had Jordy Mercer.
Yeah.
I did not know Jordy Mercer still played baseball, but good for him.
Yeah, I just remember like that was probably his last game too, along with Ryan Zimmerman's.
I thought it was Alex Avila. It was Alex Avila's last
Yeah,
game.
yeah. I think they were discussing maybe on the radio. They were discussing like Jordy Mercer. It also might be his last game. Maybe not because of age, but because he's not very good anymore.
Poor guy. Never forget those Pirates days.
Yes. They added Nelson Cruz, Cesar Hernandez, Anibal Sanchez, Steve Cishek, Sean Doolittle, and Aaron Sanchez. And
D. Strange Gordon and Maikel Franco, both to minor league deals during the lockout.
True. Maikel Franco, 2019 National League King of intentional walks, or second.
Second in the National League.
Because of the pitcher spot.
Yep. Too bad for he must have been so upset.
Yeah. He's like, how am I going to get my on-base percentage up? I'm
pretty sure the Fangraphs projected lineup actually has him hitting 8th. That's very unfortunate for him.
Yeah, very much so. Who's your player to watch from the Nationals?
I mean, you already know it.
Oh yeah, I think I do.
I'm going with a repeat for this year. I talked about this guy last year for very different reasons. I also wrote 1,600 words about him during the offseason. Josh Bell. Everything I wrote, I straight up copy and pasted from my article about him. So this is going to sound very formal. It's because it's what I wrote. In 2021, Josh Bell set career highs in exit velocity at 92.5 miles an hour and a hard hit percent at 52%. However, his launch angle went down a degree from 2020 and shrunk to 4.9 degrees. Bell has been predominantly a ground ball hitter for 2 seasons now, with a 54.1% ground ball rate since 2020, and that ranks 6th highest of the 114 qualifying hitters. For a 6'4", 255-pound first baseman with generational power and 33rd percentile sprint speed, that isn't exactly what you want. You want him to be hitting the ball in the air a lot more. 130 of Bell's 540 batted balls over the last 2 seasons have resulted in hard-hit ground balls. That is a 24.1% clip, and it ranks 4th highest among the 163 hitters with at least 400 ground balls in that time. He is also one of 8 qualified hitters with a ground ball to fly ball ratio above 2 since the start of 2020. That means he and 7 other hitters have double the number of ground balls compared to fly balls. However, every other one of those 7 hitters has a BABIP of at least 300 over those last 2 seasons because they are known for being contact guys and they don't get shifted on. Josh Bell, meanwhile, had a BABIP of 275 because he's seen as a more powerful hitter with a threat to drive the ball, so he gets shifted on more. Bell hit 187 on ground balls in 2021. That was tied for the 8th lowest batting average among the 164 hitters to have at least 125 ground balls throughout the season. According to Fangraphs, Bell finished the season with 214 total ground balls, and he was one of 55 hitters with at least 175 ground balls. And of those 55, Bell ranked tied for dead last in average and was the only hitter with a negative weighted runs created plus on grounders, and that was a -3 weighted runs created plus. And on the opposite end of the spectrum, he hit 343 on fly balls during the season. That ranks 12th of 179 hitters with at least 100 fly balls during the regular season. That is a 156-point difference in Bell's average where he hits fly balls versus ground balls. He is one of the best hitters when he hits a fly ball, but he hits ground balls at double the amount. And that is something that needs to change.
Yeah, great analysis. It was done. Was it done?
It was early January.
So it was done over the off season, and yeah, everything stands the same. It's it's very frustrating, especially knowing like what we saw first half 2019, knowing what was in there, and what we're kind of getting because of probably a more solvable issue.
Mm-hmm.
It's it can be frustrating, but he'll he obviously has the exit velocity and the ability to hit the ball hard. He's just got to hit it in the right direction. My player to watch is I don't know. I don't know how much I believe in him personally, but I think he had a pretty interesting year. Alcides Escobar, at the age of 34 last year, after 3 years away from Major League Baseball, had career highs in on-base percentage, slugging, and OPS in seasons in which he had 300-plus plate appearances.
That's fantastic.
Much of this was due to a career-high 28.8% line drive rate. So, Alcides Escobar hit some line drives. I mean, when we talk about players to watch, we don't go with the obvious guys. We usually stay away from like the top 4 or 5
best well-known players on the team, unless there's just something about them.
Yeah, unless there's something like very interesting that people aren't talking about. So like obviously with the Nationals, you should be watching Juan Soto.
Yes, please do that.
You should be watching Juan Soto and Nelson Cruz until he gets traded in July. Because I don't know what else the Nationals are going to do with him. But yeah, Alcides Escobar though, last year he had an OPS plus over 100, so shout out to him. All right, question time.
Yeah, there are a lot of young players on this team that still are works in progress. Two of them just got over here. 2 of them have been there for a while. Who is the best chance of establishing their part of the Nationals' future this year? Josiah Gray, Keibert Ruiz, Victor Robles, Carter Kieboom.
That's a good question. Gray has good. Well, I don't know if he has good strikeout numbers. Maybe more in the minors he had good strikeout numbers.
He has good stuff.
He's got good stuff. Keibert Ruiz, I don't think we've seen a lot of. Carter Kieboom, we've seen a bit of him. He's struggled a bit. Victor Robles, 2019 he was pretty good. He's always had good defense, but he's struggled in 2020 and 2021. And all of them are pretty young, like 25 and under, I think. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to think here. Like my heart kind of wants to go Victor Robles, but I just see what he's done in the past 2 years, and it's tough to believe that he's gonna bounce back greatly. Keibert Ruiz, is he what position is he?
He's a catcher.
He's a catcher, yeah. So I'm gonna say Josiah Gray.
Okay.
I think he can make himself get himself to an ERA around 4 or something like that, which is an ERA plus around 110 maybe. So I can see that from him, and increase the strikeout numbers, maybe decrease the walk numbers. So yeah, I think Josiah Gray will be, of those 4, will establish himself the most.
Sure.
My question, it's regarding your player to watch.
Yeah.
Will Josh Bell have over or under 29.5 home runs?
I think it's over. Yeah, I mean, I don't mean to pat myself on the back, but Josh Bell was definitely the guy that I looked the most at during the offseason, and the guy I looked the most at last offseason, noticing one particular flaw in his style, was Robbie Ray, and he won the Cy Young Award.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe Josh Bell wins MVP. Who knows?
That's true. He had 27 last year for reference.
Yes, he did. I would take the over on that.
Yep. All right, on to the Miami Marlins. They went 67-95 last year and finished 4th in the NL East. And they lost. I was looking through their transactions. They lost no one significant. They added Avasil Garcia, Jorge Soler, Jacob Stallings, Joey Wendell, and the legend Williams Astudillo, La Tortuga. He's probably not going to play much of a role, but it's funny to add him. So I'll start with my player to watch. He's a guy who's not necessarily completely unknown, but I think it's kind of overshadowed depending on... He gets a little overshadowed by the other pitchers in the rotation. So I'm talking about Pablo Lopez.
You do love Pablo Lopez.
I'm a big fan of him.
You are.
One of my... We started the How About That segment in 2020, and he was probably one of the first 6 or 7, and he was the first one where I found a good statistical difference in what he was doing between years and stuff. So I'll reflect positively on Pablo Lopez. But anyway, he's a 26-year-old right-handed pitcher, and since the start of 2020, he has a 3.26 ERA, 3.22 FIP, and 9.8 strikeouts per 9 in 160 innings pitched. There are 6 pitchers to have 10-plus starts and a FIP below 3.3 in both 2020 and 2021. 10-plus starts and a FIP below 3.3. Jacob deGrom, Zach Wheeler, Shane Bieber, Brandon Woodruff, Kevin Gausman, and Pablo Lopez.
There you go.
So, he's a bit overshadowed by guys like, guys have emerged like Trevor Rogers. Sixto Sanchez emerged in 2020. Sandy Alcantara has always been, at least for the past couple years, very good. But Pablo Lopez is very well right with there with them. Obviously with a 3.26 ERA and a 3.22 FIP since the start of 2020. Also just has to stay healthy. Kind of ran into some troubles last year. Anyway, who is your player to watch?
So you were mentioning their additions from the offseason. They had a lot. There was one guy that was left out though, and it is on the surface not a key name, but it is a key name. Lewis Head. He is a relief pitcher that they got from Tampa Bay, and he might be my favorite player ever. Lewis Head gave up 90 batted balls last season. 42 of those batted balls, that is just below half, had a launch angle above 35 degrees. That is a 46.7% rate of all batted balls having a launch angle above 35 degrees, and it is the highest of the 3,743 seasons in the StatCast era with at least 50 batted balls against. There have been 3,742 other seasons. None of them have had a higher rate of batted balls being above 35 degrees than Lewis had last year. He also had a 3.56 K to walk ratio, and since he gave up so many fly balls, you would think he gave up more than 0.5 home runs per 9, but that is just not true. Lewis Head is going to be an awesome reliever for the Marlins. I think he's going to a more pitcher-friendly ballpark, especially for a fly ball pitcher like him. He gives up a lot of fly balls. Not a lot of them have a lot of exit velocity on them. And Chris, because I know you'd like to hear this, on that list of 3,743 seasons, obviously Lewis Head in 2021 was number 1. Number 5 and 6 were Caleb Beauregard's 2020 and 2021 seasons.
Yeah. Shout out to Caleb Beauregard.
Yeah.
Last week, my Diamondbacks player to watch. Just a silly guy. Silly name. Now it is question time for the Marlins. Mine's very subjective with the Marlins. So by the end of the year, what number starter will we consider Jesus Luzardo in an average rotation? When we talk about guys like, this guy's a number 3 starter. He's just a number 5 starter. It's like, this is a number 1 starter in most rotations.
I feel like the safest bet is say, he's going to be a 3.
Right.
Because that could be very subjective. So I'm going to be bold and say 2.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't think it would have been too ordinary to say 3, given he struggled a lot last year, but I think it was mostly out of the reliever role.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think he had a 6 something.
He's had an uptick in velocity spring training, so that's very encouraging.
Very encouraging. Yeah. So, he's 25 now, I think.
Yeah.
He was a top prospect in the A's system, and he got traded over for Starling Marte.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what a deal.
What am I was thinking about putting the question by this year, when will we know that the Marlins won the trade?
Yeah.
It's I guess we kind of already knew.
We already know. The A's, okay, Starling Marte was very good for the A's, but it was a 1-year deal. It was a rental deal, and they didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
What did Starling Marte really do for them in the grand scheme of things?
They didn't even
not that it's his fault, of course. He did everything he could have, but I don't think there's unless Jesus Luzardo just completely blows up, I don't think there's a way they can win this trade, and even then, I don't even know if that's really them winning the trade.
Yeah, they didn't
okay, let's say Jesus Luzardo were to have blown up in Oakland instead. He's not. What is he really pushing them away from anyway?
Yeah.
They traded all of their players, and they're not trying to compete. What does it matter if Jesus Luzardo isn't good now?
Right.
And they can't trade him for a rental.
Yeah. Yeah, Marte. Yeah, he was a 2-month thing, and yeah, they didn't even come particularly close to the playoffs. They were 6 games out in the wild card.
Yeah, I know.
By season's end, and yeah, like, you know, it was funny how they went about it. They just gave up their most prized young pitcher.
Yeah.
Crazy. In the scheme of it all.
It's my question.
Your question.
We've had a lot of conversations about the future Marlins rotation, right? Sandy Alcantara, who just signed an extension.
Yep.
Pablo Lopez, your guy. Jesus Luzardo, Edward Cabrera, Sixto Sanchez, Trevor Rogers, Eliza Hernandez. They have a lot of studs in that rotation. Buy or sell, the Marlins will have a top 5 rotation ERA in the National League this year. They ranked They ranked 8th last year.
Oh,
buy or sell? You think
top 5 in the NL?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think about it. You have the Dodgers, the Brewers, the Giants, the Mets. Although the Mets, who knows right now, because DeGrom is out for a while. Scherzer might be out for a little bit.
Yeah, and they don't have too much depth. They just lost Stroman, and I know Syndergaard wasn't pitching a lot for them, but they don't have him to rely on. But yeah, if I think about the National League, like, also I guess the Padres are a potential factor, but but yeah, I think buy, because also the thing with them is, Alcantara's heading into his age 26 season. So is Pablo Lopez. Rogers heading into his age 24 season. Luzardo, I think, heading into his age 25 season. Sixto Sanchez, in his mid-20s too. Like, it's hard to imagine any of them getting worse. I think they're all going to be getting better. So yeah, I think that's a buy for me.
Okay.
And I think I made a statement. I said in 2023 they will have the best rotation ERA.
Sure.
In baseball, but not this year. But 2023. All right, on to the Mets. Speaking of the Mets, onto the Mets, who last year went 77-85 and finished 3rd in the National League East. And they lost Marcus Stroman, Javier Baez, Noah Syndergaard, Michael Conforto, unless I guess they re-sign him, which unlikely.
I don't think so at this point,
given some of their additions. They also lost Aaron Loop, Jonathan Villar, Kevin Pillar, and Rich Hill. And they added Max Scherzer, Starling Marte, Chris Bassett, Mark Canha, Eduardo Escobar, and Adam Ottavino. And who's your player to watch from the Mets?
So my player to watch on the New York Mets is someone that's kind of been there a while, but I don't think people realize just how good he is at what he does. Brandon Nimmo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Since 2017, his 395 OBP ranks 6th among qualifiers. He's ridiculously good at taking walks. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
He also, worth noting, his lowest strikeout rate in any season besides 2020 coming into last year was 25%, and in 2021 his strikeout rate was 20.3%. So Not only does he walk a lot, and he has always done that, but he also struck out a lot less last year. And also, for whatever reason, I noticed this, not that it has a ton to do with anything, but I just found it amusing. He is just an entirely different hitter when he deals with off-speed pitches. On fastballs and breaking balls, he has an 11-degree launch angle since 2019, which is, it's 11 degrees. It's fairly average, I would suppose. On off-speed pitches, since 2019, his launch angle is -3 degrees. That is tied for the 3rd lowest among the 325 hitters with at least 50 off-speed pitches, 50 plate appearances on off-speed pitches since 2019. I don't really know how to explain it because it's pretty much only changeups that's not really meant to produce ground balls, such as much as like maybe sinkers or even some breaking balls.
Yeah, even though they have like downward action, it's like more of it's not necessarily a ground ball pitch. It's more of a put away pitch for most guys. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, it's hard. It is hard to make of it what it is. I guess it can be improved upon somehow, some way. But yeah, Brandon Nimmo, is that what you got on Brandon Nimmo?
That is what I got on Brandon Nimmo.
Yeah, very underrated guy. He's another guy where it's a matter of like he's got to be healthy because I don't know how many games he played last year, but I think it was under 100. Unless I'm thinking of the wrong guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So with that, like Yeah, he's very valuable in the lineup when he's in there for sure. Like 395 OPP since what 2017? You said.
Yes.
Unreal. That is
the 395 on base percentage.
Yeah,
that's stunning.
Oh my God, yeah, no doubt about it. So now I will talk about my first righty reliever of the day. So I actually went back and like erased some righty relievers because I was like, this is too much. But my first righty reliever of the day, what's his name? Sean Reed Foley, who, and I'm not saying he's gonna break out.
No, I love when you say these obvious names and it's like there's this cool thing about him. Like I'm not saying he's gonna be that great, but there's this thing.
Yeah, he's not great, and I'm not saying he's gonna break out. I think there's a little bit of like, not breakout potential, but potential to be good. He's a 26-year-old right-handed pitcher. The Mets actually got him in the Steven Matz deal, and he had 11.3 strikeouts per nine and a 3.85 FIP last year. His BABIP against last year also was 352.
On the Cardinals?
No, Sean Reed Foley. No.
Oh, the Steven Matz deal with the Blue Jays.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I thought Cardinals. For some reason, I forgot he signed as a free agent.
Yeah. In the Steven Matz deal with the Blue Jays. And no, he was on the Mets last year. He had a 352 BABIP against. That's not likely to repeat itself. And speaking of changeups, hitters were 1 for 12 with 6 strikeouts on at bats that ended on his changeup. So he's got a good changeup.
Do you know how often he throws it, or like where it is in his arsenal? Like if it's priority, if it's.
I think he throws it maybe like 20% of the time. I'll look at it.
So it's probably like second or third then, especially if he's a reliever. So he probably only has like 2 or 3 pitches in his arsenal.
Right. I'm looking him up again here. Sean Reed Foley changeup. It's third in his arsenal behind his fastball and slider. He only used it 13.2% of the time last year. But it's been pretty effective. Like hitters hit 292 off his fastball and 304 off his slider, but 083 off his changeup. So maybe that's something that he will bring more into his arsenal, and maybe he'll throw it more like 25% of the time instead of 13% of the time. Mm-hmm. But it is, granted, small sample size. Your player to watch from the Mets.
It was Brandon Nimmo.
Oh yeah, it was Brandon Nimmo. Your question.
My question. This is a meme question. What will be higher, Jeff McNeil's batting average or James McCann's OBP?
James McCann.
He had a sub 300 OBP last year. I think it was like 290.
Yeah, James McCann. He was good. He was good in like 2019, I remember. Mm-hmm. McNeil also coming off a not great year. I'm gonna say James McCann's OBP, because I don't know what. I don't know where Jeff McNeil will be at, but I imagine he bounces back. But I feel like James McCann will probably not be as bad as he was last year.
Yeah.
My question. Will Francisco Lindor have over or under a 799.5 OPS?
Over. I'm taking the over. I'm all in on the resurgence here of Mr. Smile.
Yep. For reference, 729 OPS last year. He had over an 800 OPS in 2019 and probably all the years before that. Mm-hmm. And now the Phillies.
Yeah.
They went 82-80 and finished second in the National League East.
They had their best record since 2011.
Yeah, they had their best record in a decade and finished second in the National League East and missed the playoffs. They lost Andrew McCutchen, Hector Neris, Brad Miller.
Hector Neris. What a tenure.
I mean, like, he was just forever a Philly. He was more of a Philly than Mike Schmidt.
And you know what? Like, there was in Philly, there was there was 3 certainties in life: death, taxes, and Hector Neris as the opening day closer.
Yeah.
And just always being the closer. No matter who was in there, like the amount of names that Dave Dombrowski just desperately brought in there every year in and year out to try to like patch up the bullpen. Hector Neris is closing. Don't care.
He was that guy.
Yeah.
He was, and I don't mean that guy in a good way. He was just there. He was always, his best ability was availability.
Yeah.
And he was there as the closer every opening day.
And every closing day too. Like
yeah.
No one ever dared take his. He has. He only has 84 career saves. He had 12 last year, 5 in 2020, but that was 2020. 28 in 2019, 11 in 2018, 26 in 2017.
Yeah.
You know what? The guy was always going to be there. You could count on him.
Yeah. You could count on him being there. Being good? Question mark. And they lost Andrew McCutchen, Hector Neris, Brad Miller, Ian Kennedy, Archie Bradley, and I put Archie Bradley twice. Never mind. So, and they added Nick Castellanos. So, if anything tragic happens, wait for his at bat. They also added Kyle Schwarber, Corey Knievel, Jurice Familia, and Brad Hand. We'll see about it.
Brad Hand.
Brad Hand.
Brad Hand in the Phillies bullpen just seems like a match made in hell.
Yeah, right.
Oh, poor guy.
I can. It's
It's very weird because he was great in 2020, and I was just like, I couldn't tell you why, but I was just like, no, why is he good? And like all of his peripherals were good too. Like he had very good strikeout numbers. I don't think he gave up a home run in the regular season. Like he never blew a save opportunity in the regular season.
He just doesn't look intimidating. Like closers.
Like he's a left-handed. Like like how many left-handed closers are there that don't throw that hard? Like when I think of left-handed closers, it's like Aroldis Chapman. It's like, yeah, that guy throws 1,000,000 miles an hour. Andrew Miller, that guy is a wipeout slider.
Yeah.
Brad Hand. To be fair, he was awesome with the Mets last year. Still felt weird.
Yeah.
With the Blue Jays, however.
Yeah, Brad Hand, like, in the Phillies uniform, I can already see, like, the pitcher shot after they give up the home run with like the hand with his head in his glove. I can see that.
It's got to be like up by 1 with 2 outs in the 9th too.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, dude, in 2020, he had 11.9 strikeouts per 9, 1.6 walks per 9, 0 home runs per 9, a 2.05 ERA, a 1.37 FIP. Granted, it was in 2020, so it was a shortened season. 16 for 16 in save opportunities. And he came in to save that game against the Yankees in the wild card series, and I was like, I mean, the Yankees are scoring here.
It just only made sense. So they lost, or they added Brad Hand. The Phillies were a team where I originally put a righty reliever, but I was like, you know what?
It's the Phillies. You can't do that.
There's another guy where I can manage talking about him because I actually looked at his spring training stats and I wonder they're probably updated since.
I'll
should
check
actually.
him.
I should actually.
Who are we talking about, Chris?
We're talking about Bryson Stott.
Yes, we are.
I'm
not, but you are.
Bryson Stott. Let's look at these updated spring stats. Oh, they're the same. Good. Bryson Stott, he was the 14th overall pick in 2019. He's heading into his age 24 season, and he's the number 1 prospect in the Phillies system. And in 160 career minor league games, also forgot to mention he's a shortstop. And in the Fangraphs projected lineup, when I saw it, he was projected as their starting third baseman against righties. I don't know if that's going to happen. I think there's going to be some service time stuff with that. But in 160 career minor league games, he has hit .298 with an .878 OPS. And in spring training, he's hitting at .522 with a .1346 OPS, which I think might be impressing and might be, we might be debating of like who's going to get that third base role. Him or Alec Boehm. I think it probably will end up being Boehm, just given experience. But
I think you should take Short over Didi.
Yeah, there's potential there
for defensive reasons.
Yeah, defensive reasons as well. Yeah. He's a guy to look at. There's obviously no StatCast data on him, so I can't go too deep. But 1346 OPS in the spring and I think 22 plate appearances or 22 at bats. and career 878 OPS in the minors, and I guess good defense as well. I should just look at the double check MLB top 100 prospects.
He is. He's MLB Major League Baseball had him at 87 or at 45 this year. Sorry.
45 field.
Oh, at field? No, I mean just overall.
55. Oh yeah, 45. 45 number 45 overall prospect in baseball. 55 field on the 20 to 80 scale, which is that means he's above average.
Yeah.
So you might see him in the lineup later in the year for the Phillies. A guy who can maybe surprise some people. He has in spring training so far.
Are you done with him?
Yeah.
You have more. Okay. One thing that I find very interesting is all three of the primary prospect ranking sites have him at completely different places. Baseball America has him at 67 overall. Major League Baseball, aka MLB Pipeline, has him at 45. Baseball Prospectus has him at 93. So who knows? He's top 100 for sure.
Yeah.
Who knows what he really is though?
Yeah. Exactly. Your player to watch from
My
the
player
Phillies.
to watch on the Phillies. I think the Phillies are a team. Their lineup is very good. Their defense is their defense. That's its own topic. Their bullpen is, it's Death Taxes Phillies bullpen. But the rotation, I think, is very compelling. I think there is a case that they are very underrated. I think that one particular individual that is very underrated is Zach Eflin. Since the start of 2020, Eflin has pitched 164 and 2/3 innings. He has a 4.10 ERA and a 3.58 FIP, as well as 5.75 strikeouts per walk. That K to walk ratio is 7th among the 104 pitchers with at least 150 innings pitched since 2020. The only pitchers that rank above him are Jacob deGrom, Clayton Kershaw, Nathan Eovaldi, Garrett Cole, Max Scherzer, and Corbin Burns. It's those six, and then it's Zach Eflin. Strikeout to walk ratio since 2020, minimum 150 innings pitched.
Yeah.
In 2020, he became a sinker ball pitcher, and although his average launch angles are exactly what you want for a sinker baller, they're 7 to 11 degrees, which is a little high. It's still the lowest that he's recorded in his career, and he's also coming off of knee surgery last September, so he's going to be coming back from that. It'll be interesting to see how he is after that, but unfortunately, the reality is for him, 9.6 hits per 9, probably a product of bad defense behind him, and that's probably going to continue, but the things that he can control, he's going to do very well.
Yeah. And, with the Phillies, you're kind of on a scale of maybe your ERA doesn't represent how you are as a pitcher. So, you can control your strikeouts and your walks. If you have Schwarber or Castellanos out in the outfield, it might not help you out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he has been underrated. I kind of did notice him. I always kind of dismissed him, but yeah, he's definitely improved over time. All right, question time. My question is, who will have the higher walk rate, Bryce Harper or Kyle Schwarber?
Bryce Harper. I mean, it's Bryce Harper.
Right.
Not much else to say. My question is very similar, though. The Phillies had a 9.5% walk rate last year. Actually pretty good. They added Kyle Schwarber, who is, I've told you about the Kyle Schwarber effect. It swept through the Red Sox, their clubhouse last year. They also added Nick Castellanos, who he has a slightly below average walk rate, but the Kyle Schwarber effect. Can they manage a 10% walk rate this year? That would have put them second in the league last year.
Yeah.
But like I said, 9.5 last year. The Kyle Schwarber effect is coming.
Yeah, I think they'll make 10%.
Okay.
And Bryce Harper will be in the lineup, and Schwarber with the Red Sox alone, he had a 19% walk rate.
Yes. If you don't know the Kyle Schwarber effect, the Red Sox had the second lowest, or no, it wasn't second lowest. They had a bottom 5 walk rate last year until Schwarber came in. And when he joined, from that point on, they had the second highest walk rate in the majors. And it wasn't just him. it was like several different members of the team like doubled or even tripled their walk rates after Schwarber came in. He had some sort of effect on that clubhouse, and the Red Sox were winning a lot of games. They built up a lot of momentum going into that postseason, which they made a farther run than they expected. And the Kyle Schwarber effect was very real.
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. And yeah, that's one of the reasons why I kind of am gonna miss having him around. Like,
I wish they re-signed him, but
yeah, for
whatever.
sure. For sure, but can't get everything you want. All right. Now we go advance to the Braves.
Mm-hmm.
Last year went 88-73 and won the National League East. They beat the Brewers in the NLDS in 4 games, beat the Dodgers in the NLCS in 6 games, and beat the Astros in the World Series in 6 games. That's right, World Series champion Atlanta Braves. And over the offseason, they lost Freddie Freeman, Jorge Soler, Jock Peterson, Jesse Chavez, Chris Martin, Drew Smyly, and Christian Pache. And they added Matt Olson, Kenley Jansen, Colin McHugh, Darren O'Day, and Kirby Yates. Who is your player to watch from the Atlanta Braves?
My player to watch is the very last person you just mentioned, Kirby Yates.
Nice.
He is also going to start the season with it. I just keep picking guys who are hurt. He's going to start the season on the 60-day IL, so he's not eligible to return until early June.
Yeah.
But Kirby Yates is just a guy that doesn't get appreciated enough. I don't think people realize this, but he is one of 2 pitchers in baseball history with 12.5 strikeouts per 9 and 3 or lower walks per 9 in at least 250 innings pitched in his career. The only other person to do that is Kenley Jansen. It's Kenley Jansen, Kirby Yates. His last full season was 2019. He pitched like 4 innings in 2020 before he got hurt, and then before 2021 he needed Tommy John surgery. So he hasn't really pitched since 2019, and in that season he put up a 130 FIP in 60 innings pitched. So I think the Braves have an excellent bullpen, especially with the addition of Kenley Jansen, the other person with 12.5 strikeouts per 9 and 3 or less walks per 9 in 250 innings pitched. But they're going to be on the same team now, and I think Kirby Yates is going to end up being a very underrated addition for the Braves come the All-Star break, if he's back by the All-Star break, come the end of the season.
Yeah. Kirby Yates, he was someone who probably should have won National League Reliever of the Year in 2019 and has just had injury issues. But, when he's on the mound, when he's been on the mound as of late, he also had a good 2018. When he's been on the mound as of late, great pitcher. So my player to watch is also one of their additions, a little more high profile. It is it's Colin McHugh, who a little higher profile.
Righty reliever number 2.
What?
Righty reliever number 2 of the day.
Righty reliever number 2 of the day. Just getting started. Colin McHugh last year had a 1.55 ERA, 2.12 FIP, and a 2.26 expected ERA. Out of the 269 pitchers with 60-plus innings pitched last year, he was 4th in ERA, 5th in FIP, and 6th in expected ERA. And a lot of his success came with the increased usage of his slider. He developed it in 2017, and its usage since then has gone from 14.3% to 23.8% to 43.4% to now 52.9% in 2021. So over half the time, he's using that slider, and it's working very well for him. Since the start of 2018, hitters have slugged 266 off that slider with a 252 expected slugging. In this span, out of 519 pitchers to throw a type of pitch 1,250 times, McHugh's slider ranks 17th in slugging and 18th in expected slugging, which are both top 3.5% in baseball. 17th and 18th in out of 519, so he's top 3.5% in baseball. So, if he keeps going with that slider, we talked about it last week when he was added, super under the radar signing that people aren't talking about enough. He was so effective last year.
$4 million.
Yeah, I think.
How do the Braves do this?
Unbelievable. I think it might have been. I think when I was looking at it, it was like 2 years, $10 million, which is like maybe it was 4 years in the first year, but yeah, like that's so little for what he should be getting, given what he did last year. I mean, 4th out of 269 in the ERA.
Yeah.
Among pitchers with 60+ innings pitched. Question time.
Yes. Buy or sell? Huascar Ynoa will lead this rotation in K-to-walk ratio. He had 4 last year.
Huh. It's tough because, Morton's a good strikeout guy. Fried is a good not walking guy, I think.
I mean, yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. I think, like Ian Anderson, he's not the biggest strikeout to walk ratio guy because he walks.
Because he walks a lot of people.
He walks a good amount of people. I will sell though. Yeah, I think I'll say like Fried might have more.
Okay.
My question is also regarding the rotation. So as good as they were last year, neither Max Fried nor Charlie Morton received Cy Young votes. Will one, both, or neither receive Cy Young votes this year?
I'm going to say just Fried.
Just Fried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He had...
I don't know if I have much of an explanation, but that's just how I'm feeling.
Well, an explanation could be like, I mean, we look at how great he was in the second half last year, I think.
Yep.
I think his second half ERA, if I remember correctly, it was 1.74, which was like 5th out of however many qualifiers.
And what I mean by that is like, why not Morton? I think there's just a lot of guys. National League, even without DeGrom, is very deep.
Yeah, and he's heading into his age 38 season.
Yeah.
So it could be somewhat difficult. So that wraps up the National League East, and we have the American League East to talk about, which I guess consensus most interesting division in baseball right now. And we start out with the most interesting team.
That's right.
The Baltimore Orioles. They went 52-110 and finished last in the AL East. They lost Matt Harvey, and I put in a subtraction mostly because of you, not because of necessarily significance, but Marcos Duplan they lost as well. They added Rougned Odor, Robinson Chirinos, and Jordan Lyles. That's fun. So my player to watch is this isn't, it's just kind of a fun guy again. Although I don't know, he has potential to be better than his ERA shows. Tyler Wells, righty reliever, 27-year-old right-hander reliever. He had a 4.11 ERA, a 3.63 FIP, and a 3.63 expected ERA. 10.3 strikeouts per 9, 1.9 walks per 9, which is a 5.4 strikeout to walk ratio. He kind of had a little Aaron Bummer, a little Aaron Bummer type season, not because of his, not necessarily because of his launch angle at all. It's quite the opposite, actually. So his 4.11 ERA was in the bottom 25% of relievers with 50+ innings pitched. But his 6.03 OPS against was in the top 25%. So bottom 25% ERA, top 25% OPS. Usually there's a tight correlation between the two. Usually if you have a good OPS against, you have a good ERA, but not the case with Tyler Wells. Along with that, his 5.4 strikeout to walk ratio was 9th out of 141 pitchers with 50+ innings pitched. His problem was with runners in scoring position. Hitters slashed 349, 388, 698, 1086 off of him with runners in scoring position. A 1086 OPS with runners in scoring position. His BABIP against with runners in scoring position was 423. It's not likely to repeat itself. That BABIP was the 17th highest out of 459 pitchers to face 40-plus batters with runners in scoring position, which is in the top 4%. In layman's terms, he was top 4% unluckiest when there were runners in scoring position. Along with that, there is an interesting element for him. He has a 24.8 degree average launch angle against. He had it in 2021, which was the 5th highest out of 436 pitchers with 100-plus batted balls against. So that's like top 1% basically. 5th highest out of 436. Yeah. Tyler Wells, interesting guy.
Where'd you find out about him?
I
told you about Tyler Wells like 3 months ago.
I don't remember. Was it the launch angle thing?
I mean, I can get into it because he's my player to watch.
Oh, okay.
I told you about Tyler Wells in like December. I was like, you got to listen about this.
I think I forget.
Awesome relief pitcher from the Orioles.
I think I forget like everything baseball after the lockout.
So my player to watch on the Orioles is a reliever by the name of Tyler Wells. Of the 144 qualified relievers in 2021, his 5.42 K to walk ratio ranks 11th. From June 2nd on, his 9.5 K to walk ratio trailed only Liam Hendricks and Emmanuel Clase. He was 3rd in K to walk ratio from June 2nd on. When pitching on the road, he had a 1.14 ERA in 23 2/3 innings pitched. That ranked 11th among the 191 relievers with at least 20 innings pitched on the road. He gave up 9 home runs last year. All of them were at Camden Yards. And you know what they're doing with Camden Yards, Chris? They're pushing that wall back. And they're pushing it back pretty significantly. 26 feet back. They're making the wall like 4 feet higher or something like that. So Tyler Wells is going to benefit greatly from what the Orioles are doing at Camden Yards. Because, like I said, 9 home runs given up, all of them at home. That's going to take a few off the board, which is awesome. I can't believe you've done this to me. His 198 slugging percentage against on the road ranked 5th, and his ERA was the 11th lowest, like I mentioned. His 2021 was the only season in baseball history with a 4+ ERA and a WHIP below 950. Minimum 45 innings pitched. So that is my segment on Tyler Wells.
I mean, you had a lot more information on Tyler Wells. Yeah,
because I told you all about it like 3 months ago.
Yeah, it was 3 months ago. I don't remember.
Well, very rarely I'll be like, I got to tell you about this guy.
I don't know.
That was like 1 of 2 times. But Tyler Wells, I was like, this guy is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, he's got his traits, and I don't know.
I believe you that you don't remember.
Yeah,
but I told you about him, and I was like, I told you about this guy, and now you're making him your player to watch. That's so cheap.
Yeah, no, I don't remember. I wouldn't do that. It wouldn't just.
I know, because like when we did the White Sox, part of me wanted to put Aaron Bummer, but I was like, I can't do that. That's Chris's guy. That's Chris's territory. He claimed him.
Yeah, in like it would be like last year if I was like, this Robbie Ray guy is pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, like and yeah, there's a guy in the future, and a guy in a team we're gonna talk about later today that there's a guy straight away from because of your interest. I don't know if you're gonna go with him, but
I don't know if I am.
Yeah, I don't know if you are, but question time. My question is pretty basic. Will Cedric Mullins make it back to the All-Star game?
Yeah, someone's gonna need to go.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's required.
Yeah.
I guess. Will he earn?
Will he deservingly be an All-Star? Yeah, why not?
Okay.
I mean, he was a very good player last year, very dynamic. He had 2 5-hit games, I think.
Right.
Yeah, like I said, someone's gonna need to go. And I mean, also like worth noting. We talked about how the Orioles are moving that fence back. Cedric Mullins is not really going to be affected by that. Like I feel terrible for Ryan Mountcastle because that just sucks.
Yes. Yeah.
Like I'm sure the Orioles will be better as a team because they're going to give up significantly less home runs compared to how much they're losing themselves.
Right.
But if any Orioles hitter is going to be affected, it has to be Ryan Mountcastle. Poor guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Him and like Trey Mancini.
I can't wait for his home run to fly ball ratio at home to be cut in half.
Yes. Absolutely.
Like it was like I don't know, like 17% before, and now it's like 8%.
Right. Your question.
My question: since 2000, wait, you went first.
Um,
Oh wait, you already stated your question.
yeah.
Since 2017, the Orioles have recorded a team ERA of 4.50 or higher. Can they get below that mark this year?
They had an ERA of 4.50 or higher in since
Every year
27
since 2017.
Every year since 2017. Yeah, I mean, like, that's a good question. Well, like, with the addition of Jordan Lyles, like, what isn't possible?
Well, the fence.
The fence.
The fence,
Oh yeah,
right?
it's the fence.
That's the thing, is the fence.
It's the fence. It's the fence. Huh. I'm gonna say they still have a ERA above 4.5. Yeah, I just do. Because they're the Orioles, and that's just their rotation. Maybe I'm being too much of a pessimist.
Yeah.
But I will say, above 4.5.
I mean, it's warranted.
Yeah, it's warranted. It's warranted. But yeah, I forget about that fence. I can't wait until the Red Sox play there, and it'll be a nice shot to left, and I'll be like, oh, and then the left field the outfield camera will show up, and I'll be like, no,
no, that's like 20 rows deep last year.
Yeah. Like, I'm gonna forget it so much, like the whole year.
Well, like when they said they were moving it back, I didn't really think much of it. They're really moving it back.
Yeah.
Like they were like, yeah, Ryan Mountcastle's hitting 10 home runs this year.
Yeah.
Like they don't care.
It went from like 330 to 355 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
That is, yeah, no, they made it taller too.
Right, yeah, I forgot about that.
I'm gonna see if there's a picture of it.
So the Orioles, they
okay,
have
yeah,
this.
here it is. See, everything right here is going. White is going to be the start of the seats. This white section here is going to be where the seats start.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Orioles, they have this really good idea. They're gonna push it to.
They're like, oh, our pitching sucks. I have an idea.
It would have been funny if they were like, we're gonna have a 310 foot, but we're gonna make it 37 feet tall. And you know how our walls are green, so it'll be like this big green monster in left, eating up all the doubles.
This is like a blueprint.
Yeah, that's like it's the same.
Like, look at that. Look at where the bullpen starts.
Yeah, it's 400 to left center. That's crazy.
You know what's funny is like they also took out probably like 1,000 or so seats. It's the Orioles, so it doesn't matter at all.
That's true. Like, oh no.
Like what if the Red Sox just chopped like 1,000 seats out of Fenway?
Yeah, that's tough.
Which, to be fair, it's also a ballpark built in 1912, so they naturally don't have a lot. But what if like the Dodgers did that?
Yeah.
It's like, what are we doing? The Orioles, it literally does not matter at all.
That's such a good
point.
point.
Even in the years where they were good, it does not matter.
That's such a good point.
It's going to be funny when the Orioles are like, I guarantee you, they're going to be like, hey, ticket sales are up this year. Camden Yards was this % filled compared to that % last year. I guess we're really doing something good here. You guys really loved Adley Rutschman, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So now we move on to the Blue Jays. The Orioles have gotten enough attention.
It's the most attention we've ever given them besides the one show we did about their team from 8 years ago.
Yeah.
That didn't even make the World Series. And they didn't even win a game in the championship series.
Yeah, I felt bad with the history series because like also, we didn't talk about like Cal Ripken or any like lifelong Orioles. We basically like our entire Orioles dedication on the player side was Frank Robinson, who spent like 6 years with the team. Good years. He won a triple crown.
I was gonna say like probably still one of the best players in franchise history.
Yeah. But with the Blue Jays, this is a team who is coming off a 91-71 season, albeit fourth in the American League East, and they lost Marcus Semien, Robbie Ray, Steven Matz, Randall Grichuk, and Corey Dickerson. But they added Kevin Gausman, Matt Chapman, Yusei Kikuchi, Yimi Garcia, and Raimel Tapia. Funny analytical guy.
Yes.
So who is your player to watch?
I think it's very
the
funny.
Blue Jays.
I think it's very funny that this team lost the Cy Young winner and an MVP finalist, and we look at them as being better than last year.
Yeah, it is funny how that works.
Anyway, my player to watch is one of those pitchers that is on the younger side. It's Alek Manoah. You gave me that look like you have Alek Manoah too.
Yeah.
This is 2 straight teams now. Alek Manoah is one of 10 rookies in Major League history to have an ERA plus above 130 and 10 plus Ks per 9, a minimum 100 innings pitched. So that was a very good season of his last year. He displayed a 4-pitch arsenal, and all of the pitches were effective except for his curveball, which was only thrown 10% of the time. So of the 224 pitchers last season who threw at least 1,000 fastballs and I think it's supposed to be off-speed pitches, Manoah's 298 slugging percentage against on said pitches were the 15th lowest. So the pitches that were effective were really effective, and that was most of his arsenal. So Alek Manoah, I think he's going to take a step forward this year. I think he's going to pitch a lot more innings, and he's going to be one of the better pieces in a Blue Jays rotation that already looks pretty good anyway.
Yeah, for sure. You already have Kevin Gausman and Jose Barrios. So yeah, they're in a great spot rotationally with the lineup, everything. My analysis on Alek Manoah, who is my player to watch, because I didn't want to go with another reliever because it's just too many for my side. 11th overall pick in the 2019 MLB draft, had a very good rookie season in 2021 as a 23-year-old rookie. 3.22 ERA and a 3.30 expected ERA and 111 and 2/3 innings pitched. When you look at the Savant page, it's clean. It's 86th percentile in average exit velocity against, 93rd percentile in hard hit rate, 82nd percentile in expected ERA, 81st percentile in barrel rate, 79th percentile in strikeout rate, and 75th percentile in whiff rate. And a fun little how about that on him, he had the only Blue Jays rookie season ever with 100-plus innings pitched and 10-plus strikeouts per 9. So, yeah, Blue Jay, yeah.
That's borderline the same stat that I had.
Oh, what was yours?
One of 10 rookie seasons in Major League history with 100 innings pitched, 10 Ks per 9, and an ERA plus above 130.
Yeah, I just whittled it down to the Blue Jays who...
And you took out the ERA plus.
Yeah, who, like the Blue Jays, outside of Roy Halladay and like Dave Stieb,
Roger Clemens,
and Roger
but
Clemens,
who wasn't
those
even
2 years.
wasn't even a rookie with the Blue Jays.
Yeah, like not the greatest.
I think
history.
Roger Clemens' rookie season did have that though, just not in Toronto.
Yeah, he had a great. Yeah, he was involved in another. He was involved in my Logan Gilbert stat.
Yep.
So question time.
No, he didn't have 10 strikeouts per 9, but he had 9.9 in 1988.
Fun. Good for him. What is your question?
My question, which addition proved to be more impactful, Matt Chapman or Kevin Gausman?
Which will prove to be more impactful? It's funny because with Kevin Gausman, it's more like you can observe it more just because of, you know when a pitcher's doing good. With Matt Chapman, it's going to come both offensively and defensively. It's interesting because Kevin Gausman, he improved with the Giants. I think the Giants have been doing well with player development over the past few years, given, they've had a new GM and a new analytics department and very young coaches. It's been written about a lot. So maybe him getting away from that might dilute his performance. Matt Chapman, was one of the best position players in all of baseball in 2018 and 2019. In 2020, he ran into injury troubles, and then last year he wasn't quite the same. Maybe a change of environment might be good for Chapman. More impactful for the Blue Jays. And that's also different. It's not necessarily who's better.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Kevin Gausman because I think they needed a pitcher more than they needed a position player.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll say Kevin Gausman. I don't know necessarily if he'll have the better season, like more wins above replacement, but I think he'll be more impactful, and I think he'll probably be the number one starter in the postseason for them. My question also includes Kevin Gausman. Who will have more strikeouts, Jose Barrios or Kevin Gausman?
That's a good question because they both have very good strikeout numbers. I think Kevin Gausman pitches slightly more innings, and they have similar K per nines, so I'm going to say Gausman for that reason.
Nice.
Do we go for the sweep and have the same player to watch on every team in this division?
I think with the Yankees. With the Yankees, I have two. I have two players.
I have
to
two
watch.
with the Rays.
So, and for one particular Yankee, I think there's for sure, like you've talked about this one guy with the Yankees. Maybe it was. I won't go too far into it.
Yeah.
So the Yankees last year, they went 92-70. They finished third in the AL East and lost to the Red Sox in the AL wildcard game. They lost Corey Kluber, Luke Voit, Gio Urshela, Gary Sanchez, Brett Gardner, Rougned Odor, and Clint Frazier. And they added Josh Donaldson and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa.
They just added Jose Trevino.
Oh, good for them.
You know what was really funny? So this trade just happened. The Rangers got Albert Abreu and a pitching prospect, and the Yankees got Jose Trevino, who's a catcher. And the pitching prospect, someone like a Yankees Instagram page, like made a post saying like "Good luck in Texas," and this was in exchange.
Wait, what? You got traded? I did?
This dude just found out he got traded through a Yankees source on Instagram.
Jose Trevino. 607 OPS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good defensively though, I think.
That's good. So wait, whose turn is it to go first? Oh yeah, it's my turn, I think. Yeah. So the first player I'll talk about is the one I think we might have overlap on, Clay Holmes.
Not.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Love it. Man, that was one thing where that was the one where I thought there was going to be overlap.
Yeah.
But Clay Holmes, last year he had a 1.61 ERA, 2.10 FIP, and 8.5 strikeout to walk ratio in 28 innings with the Yankees alone. Not overall in the year, but with the Yankees alone, he had those numbers. Overall in the year, his ground ball rate was 68.5%, and his average launch angle against was negative 6.5 degrees.
That's
This
awesome.
is an archetype we love to see.
That's awesome.
It's just funny. His ground ball rate was second highest of the 304 pitchers to have 150-plus batted balls against them, and his average launch angle against was the lowest out of those 304 pitchers. He used his sinker 58.9% of the time last year, and after joining the Yankees, his sinker had a 254 expected slugging against. Good to note. And out of the 94 pitchers to throw 150 plus sinkers after he was traded to the Yankees, his expected slugging on his sinker was the lowest. So he had the best sinker with expected slugging after he got traded to the Yankees.
That's like one of the most important stats with sinkers because you're not supposed to allow extra base hits.
Yeah.
On them.
Yeah, and it also means like he's not having a high average against basically too, because you need, he's not giving up. A 250 average would be, average, and it's obviously lower than that. So yeah, great stuff from Clay Holmes, and also note like I think he averages 96 on his sinker. He had over 10 strikeouts per nine with the Yankees in those 28 innings. Like. That's a guy who, I think got kind of overlooked last year, but great addition and should probably be continuing to do very good things. I think he's heading into like his age 28 season maybe. And my second player to watch, this was because I was looking for stats on the Rays, and not even a particular player, but I was looking to see like who got unlucky. That's kind of what I was looking for. And one of the most unlucky players last year was Kyle Higashioka. And I think this is an important guy because they just let go of Gary Sanchez, and he's probably going to be your starting catcher come opening day. Last year, Kyle Higashioka had a 635 OPS, but he had a 71-point unlucky difference in WOBA and expected WOBA. His WOBA was 272, which is not good. His expected WOBA was 343, which is, I think the average WOBA and expected WOBA is like 320-ish. And his expected WOBA was 343. And out of 404 batters with 100-plus batted balls, he was second unluckiest. He had a 15.6% barrel rate, which was 28th among those batters, which is top 7%. And he had a 48.1% hard hit rate, which was 49th among those batters, top 13%. So, like, you know, hitting the ball hard, getting barrels. Just got pretty unlucky last year, second unluckiest out of 404 batters. And, you know, I think maybe the Yankees fans shouldn't panic too much about, you know, lack of offense in the catcher position, because Kyle Higashioka, like, I imagine he does a lot better than he did last year given the underlying numbers.
Cool.
So your player to watch with the Yankees.
My player to watch is someone who's definitely more high profile than the two you just named, but it's someone who I don't really know what to expect from this year. It's Luis Severino. He is coming off his it's going to be his first year coming off of his injury. And the Yankees are going to ask a lot for him. He's projected to be probably the number 2 or 3 starter in that rotation, and he hasn't pitched a full season since 2018. But in the time that he has pitched since then, he has shown glimpses of his past greatness. He's thrown 18 innings pitched between 2019 and 2021, and in those 18 innings, he has a flat 1 ERA, 12.5 strikeouts per 9, and 3.5 walks per 9. So he's been excellent in the time that he has been pitching in the time that he could. And in spring training, he's been struggling, I know, but I believe he pitched a lot better today. And so that was really encouraging. I'm just going to check to see what the full numbers, what they were for him today. I know coming into today, he had like a 17 ERA after 2 starts. But today, 4 innings pitched, 1 hit, no runs, no walks, 3 strikeouts. So a very good outing against a Braves lineup that included Matt Olson, Austin Riley, Adam Duvall, Eddie Rosario, Guillermo Heredia. I guess those are really the only, like, if you can call them starters. But still, I mean, that's a very encouraging last start of spring training for him. And I think a lot of the Yankees' success, specifically in the rotation, is riding on what he's able to do this year.
Yeah, for sure. Like, he's been missing, like, you know, as you mentioned, only, 18 innings since 2019. And, yeah, like, he can be a great complement to Garrett Cole. You know, outside of Garrett Cole, you have like Jordan Montgomery as your number 2. And, you know, he's pretty good, but he's more of a number 3 type guy, especially when you're a team like the Yankees who's, you know, trying to compete for a postseason spot, trying to compete for a division title. So yeah, like you have that. You need Luis Severino back healthy. I realized I forgot to put a question for the Yankees, so I'm figuring that out right now. I just completely blanked on it. None of the other teams. I just forgot a question for the Yankees. And yeah, I'm looking to see. Okay. I don't know if I should go with the basic question or if I should go.
I mean, why not both?
Why not both? Okay, my first question. I'll do I'll start off with a basic question. Who will lead the team in home runs this year?
I'll just say Aaron Judge.
Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
He did it last year with 39.
He did. If he stays healthy, there's no reason he can't, even with Josh Donaldson, Joey Gallo, and Giancarlo Stanton in the lineup.
And okay, will DJ LeMahieu be able to will DJ LeMahieu have over or under an 809.5 OPS?
809.5. I mean, last year he really had quite a bit of a power outage.
Yeah.
His slugging percent kind of tanked.
Yeah. 10 home runs.
Yeah, I'm going to say under because, I mean, I don't know. Like, he's probably going to get less playing time with the amount of infielders they have, even after trading Luke Voit. Because he doesn't really fit in defensively anywhere.
That's true.
And DH, like, Stanton's got to play there because he can't play the outfield for whatever reason.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think he gets less playing time this year, and for that reason, I think he stays under because he's become much more of a singles hitter, specifically last year, than he had been in the past.
Right, right.
So I'm gonna stick with I'm gonna say under on that one.
All right.
I also had who leads this team in home runs.
Yeah. I'm gonna maybe because I'm more rooting for it, but I'll go with Joey Gallo.
Yeah, I for a second I wish I said him.
Yeah, I mean,
because he is the best. Knock on wood. He is the best out of him, Stanton, Judge, and Donaldson. He is the best track record of staying healthy.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, he does. Like, even though he ran into injury trouble in 2019, but since
that's only one time.
That's only once. Yeah. Like Judge and Stanton, it's been multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like it would be fun to just see Joey Gallo go ham this year after all the criticism.
Yeah. Because he dresses weird.
Because he dresses weird.
Or, I'm sorry, he gets dressed weird.
He gets dressed weird, and he doesn't get on base the correct way.
Yeah. He's a very good OBP, but he doesn't get on base right.
Yeah. So now moving on to our hometown team, the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah.
Last year went 92-70, finished second in the AL East, beat the Yankees in the AL wildcard game, beat the Rays in the ALDS in 4 games, and lost to the Astros in the ALCS in 6 games. And they lost Kyle Schwarber, Eduardo Rodriguez, Hunter Renfroe, Adam Ottavino, Martin Perez, and Garrett Richards. And they added Trevor Story, and then Michael Walker, Rich Hill, Jake Diekman, Jackie Bradley Jr., James Paxton, and Matt Strahm. Who is your player to watch?
My player to watch, I want to say this was your player to watch last year, unless we had the same person. So I apologize for repeating yours if that's true, but I have Bobby Dahlbeck this year.
Mm-hmm.
Last year he was in the 98th percentile in barrel rate, and he is one of the hardest hitters in baseball, with being top 15 percentile in average exit velo, hard hit rate, and slugging percentage. Or slugging percentage, sorry. From August 1st on last season, he slashed 288, 369, 683 for a 1053 OPS with a 174 weighted runs created plus. That 683 slugging percentage led the American League and was third in the majors, minimum 150 plate appearances. And from April to July, Dahlbeck's walk to strikeout ratio, it's reversed for hitters.
Yeah.
His walk to strikeout ratio was 0.12, which was the third worst of the 258 hitters with at least 200 plate appearances. And from August on, it went up to 0.33. So
Nice.
it almost tripled, which 0.33 still isn't that great, but it's major progress for him. So he showed some flashes of really getting out and of breaking out and not being that big strikeout guy that he had been in the past.
Right.
And I think there's a lot of interest surrounding what they're gonna do with him this season, because he's the starting first baseman, but they also have Tristan Casas in the minors, and if he comes up and he rakes, they got to put him in. But also, maybe he could play outfield. I think what they do with him is, if Bobby, it really depends on him, really, because let's say, if he comes up and he's struggling, then you just put him on the bench. It's easy. But if he comes up and he's raking and Tristan Casas comes up, I think what you do is you put Dahlbeck in right field, which it might be inexperience, but you have Jackie Bradley Jr. as a defensive replacement.
That's true.
And a lot of this really depends on Bobby Dahlbeck's performance.
Yeah. It does. And he was one of the best hitters. One of the best hitters in baseball, from basically the trade deadline on. Kind of when there were a lot of fans pushing for the Red Sox to get a different first baseman.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't end up happening, but it still worked out for the Red Sox with Bobby Dahlbeck. My player to watch, so you mentioned how it might have been my player to watch, but I made him my player to watch on the spot because we had the same player to watch last year, who is also my player to watch this year, Tanner Houck.
Yeah.
Because I think with Red Sox fans, it's easy to point out it's Tanner Houck, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But I think with the average fan, it might not resonate as much. In 86 career innings, he has a 2.93 ERA and a 2.71 FIP. He basically saved the Red Sox pitching in Game 2 of the ALDS last year. Chris Sale gave up a grand slam in the first inning, and then Tanner Houck came in, 5 innings, a 1-run ball, and saved that bullpen. and was able to, under the radar, kind of help the Red Sox succeed for the rest of the series. Last year, he was in the 82nd percentile in average exit velocity against, and in the 85th percentile in expected ERA. Also, in his career, hitters hit 134 with a 179 slugging on his slider alone, and he uses his slider about 35% of the time around there. And he is projected to be the Red Sox number 3 starter this year, especially with Chris Sale being out. So Tanner Houck, he kind of got service time manipulated a little bit last year. He was kind of up and down in the minors. I would expect a consistent, definitely a more consistent starting role with the Red Sox this year, which is something I'm excited about. I'm excited to have him have him as have a consistent role. Because also last year, before he was ever sent out of the minors, there was he was getting taken out of the rotation for Garrett Richards. There was that controversy. We'd like to forget about that now, but there was that controversy. Now Tanner Houck, he's going to be in the rotation, and he's going to stay in the rotation because there aren't too many other options now for the Red Sox. Question time.
Which is more likely? And, if 5% likely is more likely, then so be it. Which is more likely, a Rafael Devers defensive breakout or a JBJ offensive resurgence?
This is a funny question.
Yeah. We've seen both before.
What? Yeah. So, what are our metrics for resurgences?
I guess OPS plus and defensive run saved.
So, if Bradley was above average offensively,
I wouldn't even say that. I would say 90.
90 OPS plus.
And Devers if he breaks even.
Yeah, if he breaks even offensively. So basically, if they're above replacement offensively or defensively.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I think defense is more likely to you are what you are. Uh-huh. So I'm gonna say more likely Jackie Bradley Jr. offensive resurgence. And
wow.
maybe it's my heart being can we just see?
You were back in 2016 mode.
I just don't want to see this Renfroe trade crash and burn, and I'm rooting for Alex Benelas too hard because I really don't want this to just fail miserably I think it will. My question, Nathan Eovaldi last year had a FIP of 2.79. Will he keep his FIP below 3?
Ooh, that's asking a lot.
It is asking a lot. It's tough to do. He had a crazy strikeout to walk ratio. I think 0.7 homers per 9.
I think the biggest factor in that is home runs.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty I think I'm most confident in his ability to prevent walks.
Yeah.
He still throws upper 90s, so I think his strikeout rate should be fine. I think command is the big question. A sub 3 FIP is a lot to ask. If it's 3.05, that's still very good.
Yes.
But
yes.
I don't think I can bank on that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say over on that.
All right. Yeah, I totally understand that. All right. So now, on to our last team, the Tampa Bay Rays, who went 162 and won the American League East last year, and lost to the Red Sox in the ALDS in 4 games. They lost Colin McHugh, Nelson Cruz, Joey Wendell, Michael Wacha, Mike Brosseau, Chaz Rowe, David Robertson, and Oliver Drake.
Where did Chaz Rowe go?
I think he might still be on the free agent market.
Really?
He's just been injured. Maybe they re-signed him.
Injured. He's on the no. Never mind. Yeah, he's what? How is he on the free agent? He's 35, but did you see his numbers with the Rays?
Yeah, crazy.
Teams? What are we doing?
And they added Corey Kluber, Brooks Raley, and just recently, Harold Ramirez.
Yeah. So I now have no reason to watch the Cubs because my player to watch is gone. I can't wait for when we do the debriefing of our players to watch, and my number 1 worst player is Harold Ramirez because he got traded before opening day.
Yeah, that's tough. That's with the lockout, we're just seeing trades at weird times now.
Yep.
my player to watch from the Rays is someone who has had 2 plate appearances in Major League Baseball. He's slash 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 2,000. Josh Lowe, another Lowe to the Tampa Bay Rays mix. He's a 24-year-old outfielder. He's the number 2 prospect in the Rays system and number 50 prospect in baseball, according to MLB Pipeline. He had this isn't too analytical because it's a minor league player, but he had a 916 OPS and 26 stolen bases in 111 minor league games last year. Obviously he's 24. His estimated time of arrival on
is
both
April 24th.
Is April 24th, yeah. His estimated time of arrival for both Fangraphs and MLB is 2022. So I imagine him getting in the mix, getting in that outfield, because it's not like no one in that outfield really is guaranteed outside of maybe Arozarena and maybe Kiermaier to get everyday playing time. Because Meadows, he doesn't go in against lefties, although this guy is also a lefty. But yeah, I think he'll get in the mix. Maybe some DH work also, or maybe Meadows will go there when he comes in. So yeah, that'll be interesting. Yeah, Josh Lowe, 916 OPS and 26 stolen bases in the minors last year. And he's
related
24.
to Nate as well.
Oh,
So I had his brother as a player to watch, and you had him.
I did not know they were related.
I just found that out 2 seconds later. They quickly went to his baseball reference page.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
All right, so nice connection there. Who do you have from the Rays?
So I picked 2 players from the Rays. One of them is very high profile. The other one, if you're a sabermetrician, you know about him, but if you're a casual, you probably don't. I'm glad you talked about Josh Lowe because I have to talk about Brandon Lau. Just because he's one of the best players on the team, but the world needs to know that since 1871, his 134 weighted runs created plus is 9th among second basemen.
Career-wise,
yes.
Wow.
Yeah. It's really cool.
That is very cool.
Yeah. It's just it's obviously a small sample size thing, but it's still big enough to qualify.
Yeah.
But you need to know. He also leads all second basemen in weighted runs created plus since he debuted. So Brandon Lau, arguably the best offensive second baseman in baseball.
Yeah, very much so.
500 slugging each of the last 2 years.
Yeah.
By midseason MVP in 2020.
Yeah, and you look at you also look at what he was able to do from June on, because he kind of.
I was to say you had him as a how about that, and it was a really good one.
Yeah, and he or actually I can just go to his game logs, but he struggled a little bit to start, and then just took off and was one of the best players in baseball, but also unfortunately had a rough postseason. He was the best guy in that lineup, and didn't
really do much.
Didn't really produce in the postseason.
Yeah. My other Rays player to watch is
go ahead.
Another guy who's starting the year on the injured list. I don't know if he's on the injured list, but I know he's hurt. Shane Baz. I don't know what his timetable is, but he's worth paying attention to. He pitched 13 and a third innings last year. He had 12.2 strikeouts per 9 and 2.2 walks per 9. The Rays have an alarmingly kind of slim depth in their starting pitching, and a lot of what they can do in the rotation this year is relying on guys like Shane Baz to develop. He's a top 10 prospect in baseball. They have Shane McClanahan. They have Luis Patino. This is a very young rotation. They have the veterans presence of Corey Kluber to help them out, which I think will be good.
Yep.
But he has ace type stuff. He showed it last year. The only thing for his short time last year was he gave up a lot of home runs. That's something that can be fixed over time, I'm sure.
Yep.
And those are my guys on the Rays.
Yeah, I'm looking at Brandon Lau in his final 83 games had a 287 average and a 10-12 OPS.
Yep.
And I'm looking at where he ranked. Yeah, from June 19th on, his final 83 games, he was 4th in among all position players in FWAR.
Wow.
And I'm gonna see where his batting stats were as well, if this loads properly. But yeah, like he was, if the season started on June 19th, he would have been in the MVP conversation.
For sure.
His OPS ranked also fourth from June 19th on, and weighted runs created plus ranked third in his final 83 games out of a bunch of qualifiers. 100.
Okay. Shane Baz is not throwing until early to mid-April. So that could mean he's back in May. It could mean he's back in July. But he'll be back enough to make an impact on the season, like early enough to do so.
Oh, yeah.
Which is good.
And, yeah, it's probably more important that he's there for the playoff push. So, yeah, my question is Mike Zunino's percentage of hits being home runs will be over or under 40%.
40%? What was it last year?
45.8.
I don't know. Last year felt like an anomaly. I'm going to have to take the under on that.
I understand.
Yeah, that's got to be a record or something.
I think it was actually a graphic. I was rewatching Game 3 of the ALDS, and they had
what a game.
Yeah, great game.
Good one to be at for sure.
Oh, yeah. Just to feel the atmosphere of Fenway.
Absolutely.
It probably would have been amazing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Mike Zunino, he had 45.8% of his hits were home runs. And, like, if you break it down to total bases, I think, like, 70% of his total bases came off home runs. It was pretty insane. Now, your question to round out this episode.
Yeah, not only to round out the episode, but to round out our
preview.
Our previews.
Yeah, player to watch, all of our players to watch.
By the end of the year, I think he's there already, but by the end of the year, is Wander Franco a consensus top 5 shortstop in baseball?
Oh, consensus top 5 shortstop in baseball. Well, yeah, I don't think he'll necessarily be above like Turner and Tatis, but like, yeah, everyone else like Story, Correa.
I would argue he's already a top 5 shortstop in baseball.
Yeah, you could definitely argue that. Like, yeah, there's Story, Correa, Turner, Tatis, and like Baez. He'll definitely be ahead of Baez, I think. Seager, I forgot. Yeah, Seager's in the mix. I guess and Lindor's in the mix as well.
Is his on base streak technically still intact? Remember he had that on base streak last season? Is that still?
Yeah.
Oh wait, hold on. I think on September 30th he may have broken it. That's a shame.
Yeah, I'm realizing how deep that list is. Well, I guess it also depends on like how you base it off of. I definitely think he'll have a top 5 shortstop season in 2022. Will he be consensus top 5? In like the next year when they do like the MLB Network top 5 shortstops in baseball right now.
The Shredder.
Yeah, I think he'll be
Okay.
right. I think he'll be number 5.
All right, that's good.
I think Turner, Tatis, and Correa and maybe Seager will be ahead of him.
So I don't know if this counts as keeping his on-base streak, but on September 30th, so there was a man on first with no outs, and he hit into a fielder's choice, but there was an error. So no one was out on the play. He got on base.
Oh, well, it doesn't count as a hit by pitch.
So does that count as extending his on-base streak? Because he got on base.
No, because errors errors don't count towards on-base percentage.
That's fair. But he did get on base.
He did technically.
He has gotten on base in whatever amount of games it is.
Yeah. But yeah, like with the Rays, Wander Franco's already the face of that team pretty much. At the age of 21 now. Yeah, because March just happened. All right, so that will do it for previews. We kind of packed it in. Like, we had to do, since, we didn't do any previews during the lockout because it's like we didn't know that, Correa was going to go to the Twins and Story was going to go to the Red Sox.
What do you mean? Everyone knew Correa was going to the Twins.
Oh, that's true, yeah. We knew the tampering was going to be going on. We knew, it's like, Simmons leaves, you got to bring in Correa.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What an upgrade. Andrelton Simmons, who is apparently on the Red Sox now.
Yeah, what the heck?
If you go to the Fangraphs injury report, he's just listed on the Red Sox. I was like, so first of all, there's a Red Sox like Twitter community, and I put something on there, and I was like, apparently we have Andrelton Simmons now, and then someone was like, yeah, that's old news. I was like, what are you talking about? We don't have Andrelton Simmons.
Yeah.
He's on the Cubs. I'm not crazy. He's on the Chicago Cubs. He's signed a contract, 1 year, $4 million. I guess it's not unreasonable to believe maybe they could have traded him, but it doesn't matter. They didn't trade him. He's not on the Red Sox. He's playing spring training games for the Chicago Cubs. Granted, he only played 1 and had 2 plate appearances, but what are we talking about? He's not on the Red Sox.
What are we talking about? Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that'll do it for all that. It'll do it for this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of had to pack it in. It was a good amount of work, and we're already doing a lot of stuff.
Yes.
With classes and clubs.
Yep.
For whatever, but that does it for that. And yeah, we'll be doing season predictions sometime before Thursday or maybe on Thursday. I don't know. So we'll be doing that right before opening day. So we hope you enjoyed this one. And if you want to follow us on social media, follow me on Twitter at Chris_Gianta. Follow Daniel on both Twitter and Instagram at Daniel_Curran, and follow the show Instagram at Above Replacement Radio for all the show needs. And we hope you enjoyed this one, and we hope to see you for the next one, where we will be doing 2022 season predictions. Yeah, we will see you then.
This conversation is over.